I'm going to tell you a little story. At age 61, the spring of my 61st year, I decided I needed to check into my health. And for the purpose, really wanted to have blood work done and check certain levels like testosterone, uh, lipids, a whole screening for heart issues, diabetes. And during that blood work, it was determined that I was indeed diabetic. And this was something that came on in just in the last 3 years previous to that. So I wasn't long term diabetic. I called myself a baby diabetic. So I started on a health journey, which I had been on off and on throughout my life, but this one I I knew I needed to get after it. I was having struggles though, because any changes I made, they weren't self discipline. I wasn't able to keep them in, like the dietary changes, sleep changes, um, and I just struggled. But I was doing things right too. I was joined the gym. I was lifting weights. I was on treadmills. I did walking. I did rucking. I put 30 pounds on my back in a backpack and went for 2 mile walks. I was doing some intermittent sprinting here and there. Uh, Sauna, cold plunge, all the things that were supposed to be good to prevent heart issues. However, it was probably too late. Well, as you'll find out, it was too late. In July, I started developing chest pain. I had a stress test done in the middle of July, and I failed it miserably. Uh, so much so that I think the nurses that were performing it uh, expected them to run me down to the cath lab. As it turned out, they scheduled me for a few weeks out, which was fine. I had a cardiac cath done in the middle of August, and it was horrible. Um, the procedure itself was easy, but the cardiologist told me that I was 99.9% blocked in my LAD. That's the widowmaker uh, artery in the heart. The one that if you have an issue, you're usually dead before you hit the ground. So I got extremely lucky. I was lucky he got through, or I would have needed open heart. But he did get through. He put a stent in, and at that point, I just decided I needed to get real serious about it. So I went on medications for the lipids. My lipids were sky high. I modified my diet, and I went on Ozempic. All the things helped. I lost weight. I was feeling better. My next A1C was still high, but not it was low in the diabetic range, so it was improving. And I was still struggling with maintaining the lifestyle that I needed to lick this problem. At that point, I used some DNA testing, and that showed me things I am genetically uh, predisposed to, like when to eat, when not to eat. My particular case is I have slow metabolism in the evening, so I should not eat a big meal in the evening. I should not eat fatty foods. On previous to that, I was on like the keto with a high fat. Wasn't watching the fat content. Um, Still losing weight, but until I implemented the lifestyle changes through the DNA testing and other lab testing, that's when the changes stuck. I continued to do the rucking. I got someone to cook meals for me, stopped eating fast food lunches. That was really my downfall was fast food. I got a glucose monitor, and I realized that the things that I love to eat for lunch were spiking my sugar, which means I was spiking my insulin. And if you know anything about the insulin hormone, when you're in the presence of high insulin, your body can't goes into storage mode. You won't burn fat. You won't lose weight. So it's these changes that implement it or that I implemented using the testing that got me the end product. The last two A1Cs are normal. I'm no longer considered diabetic. My lipids are normal. And this is mostly through the dietary changes and lifestyle changes. Um, my background is I'm a chiropractor for years. and I retired from that and became an RN in like 2012. Um, so I got to see, and the whole system was all geared on treating people after it was too late, and it was just it's a downward spiral with people's health. Um, so these are the changes that I want to bring to people. And I did this through years of studying. I should have known better, but I was procrastinating. You know, I used to say you got to choose your battles with the diet and the lifestyle. I was busy working, traveling for work. So it wasn't until I got serious about changing these things, which was a mindset change, and I got help. I use medications to help me with any kind of addiction to food. I think that's real. I was an overeater. I always was. They used to call me the garbage disposal when I was younger in the house because what was ever left over on the table, rather than throw it away or put it in the garbage disposal, they put it in front of me. And I was never overweight as a child or even a young adult. It was only in the later years that this caught up to me. So if this kind of information can help you or someone you know, that's what I really want to impress upon you, that you can make the changes. You know, at 62, I was no longer diabetic. I have not had any chest pain. I do walking. I walk 2 to 4 miles with no problem. I do rucking, walk with a backpack or other weights on my back and no issues. I'm still on the journey. I haven't lost all the weight I want to lose, and I know I can, but it's a matter of sticking to it. And I did this, you know, it was like 30 minutes a day is all it takes to make the change. And that's the thing is busy professionals and business owners, we don't have, and I don't have hours to spend a day in the gym. And that doesn't fit my lifestyle. And the other thing is through the DNA testing, it showed me exactly how much in exercise I needed because I am resistant to losing weight. And as long as I meet those weekly stats for exercise, I'm on my way. I'm on using testosterone to keep me back to normal. I feel great. So I'm not into trying to impress upon that you don't need medications or uh, I think medications are fine to use, especially as a crutch, but you really need to look at diet and lifestyle. And that's the biggest change. Hope this helps.